Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment, news, and random topics we bring to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I am connected via Google Hangouts with my friend Mike Stuglis. How you doing today?
Good.
That's it? Anything special happened this week?
I went fishing this morning and I caught nothing, and I fished for like 5 hours. It was kind of.
What were you using?
I was using a jig head and a spoon, and I could not get anything.
That's too bad.
It was a bummer.
That's too bad. And the other friend we have connected in here, one of our other co-hosts, is Dan Stewart. Dan, how you doing?
This is the last chance to get to do something that I love. Or whatever. I don't know. I don't know the quote. I didn't look it up before.
But
it's
quote.
kind of it. It's kind of a quote from Cars 3.
Yeah, which we will be reviewing later.
Indeed.
And with that, Mike, why don't you take us into our first story here?
I didn't even have it pulled up. Here we go. Oh, so I forget the guy's name, but he's been writing and shit with the John Wick movies. Terrible way to intro it, but he says, Gee, I got the Red Stag bottle next to me. That's why. He says that they are developing a John Wick TV show, and it will be called The Continental, and it will not revolve around John. He might appear, but it's more so going to revolve around the other assassins in this universe around the world that they've set up, and the other Continentals in different countries. So, Dan, as a Wicker, I guess that's what I'm going to call us as John Wick fans. I'm on a roll today. What do you think of this story?
I enjoy it. I would hope it comes out after John Wick 3, so we kind of got more of an understanding of the whole universe after John Wick 2, and just the utter size of, the Continentals. And
it will be a prequel show. I
everything
forgot
like
to say that.
Oh, will it be? Okay.
Yes.
Oh.
So that makes more sense. Because they've done some incredible world building with these movies so far. I've really enjoyed watching the two John Wick films. So putting it into a television show, I feel like they have a lot more freedom because they have a lot more episodes and time to deal with and to get into other people and broaden the horizons of what the movie's already created. And with the success of the films, I'm sure this television show will be, in good hands, and I'm expecting it to be good because of how good the films have been. So I'm expecting it to be fun. I'm expecting it to be like the movies, and I want to see more of that great universe building that they've done so far.
What type of, where would you want to see it land in terms of like channels or what company? I'd like to see it with something like HBO or Stars or Netflix, where they can really show the violence, because you can't do a John Wick show on something like TNT or
ABC Family.
Oh, Freeform. Yeah, something like
Freeform.
You can't do that.
No, I want
right.
them to say the word fuck, because fuck is an incredible word. And it holds a lot of meaning, and it's a good word. And shit and balls and.
I don't think they ever said balls in John Wick movies. Now I want to hear it.
So you want it for the swearing purposes, not the violence, Dan.
That's not necessarily true. I mean, I want the violence as well, but swearing's funny.
The Continental. It is a comedy.
Yeah.
Now, let me play the other side of the card here, because I think this show really should only be made if they have a story in that universe that's actually worth telling. I don't want them to just be making this because people like John Wick. I want them to say, oh, we came up with this good possible story that, maybe during the movies when they were writing it, they said, oh, that would be great, but we can't put this in the movie. I don't want them to just make this because they can make it, It's very cool. The cool thing about the Continental, these assassin hotels in the John Wick movies, is that there's so much mystery around them, and that we don't know anything about the assassin world. That's what kind of made it so chic and stylish and subversive to everyone. So if we're just making a movie about, or a TV show, about this hotel, it might lose its luster to audiences.
I did read in the article that the creator said it's like they are heavily influenced by Game of Thrones, and they would take an approach of telling multiple stories and not necessarily having a central character. I don't know if that adds to anything you were talking about, but I also thought that was interesting. I just think there's a lot of possibilities, but yeah, I would hate to see it just be like, oh, we're going to follow another John Wick type guy who goes...
Look how many people he can kill.
I don't want that.
Here's the thing, though. If Ian McShane gets involved with the show, then HBO will pick it up.
That's a good point.
Because he was in Deadwood and that other one. But
the other one.
Yeah. So, yeah, Ian McShane, if he's involved as, like, what's his name, and he's running the show, then...
Winston.
Yeah. So then I'm full on board. That'd be dope if Ian McShane was involved.
Yeah, because I feel like he's a very important character considering he runs one of the hotels. So if he's not on board, I don't know if I'd have a lot of faith considering it's about the Continental hotels.
I feel like there's a lot more to his character already. I mean, we've already kind of learned a good amount about his character through the first two John Wick films, but if they want to save the third one for focusing more on Keanu Reeves as John Wick rather than Ian McShane, then the show can kind of more explore Ian McShane's character and the buildup of the Continentals.
Right. Yeah. I concur. Do you concur?
Yeah,
I concur.
All
right, what's the next thing, Ryan?
All right, moving into our next story, we have learned that Chris Evans, who plays Captain America in the Marvel movies, saying he's done with Captain America after Avengers 4. So Avengers 4 is going to be broken down into two movies, and if you read kind of the thing he said to the press about it, it reads, I had 6 films in my Marvel contract, so I could have said after the third Avengers I was done, but they wanted to make the third and fourth Avengers films as a two-parter. He agreed to come back because it made sense, and it's going to wrap everything up. So it doesn't sound exactly like he's leaving in some dramatic, his contract's up and he's just out. It's more that something's going to happen in these next movies that will kind of end the story, whether or not he will die in the Avengers movies. So, like, he might not die. Who knows? But Captain America's going to be wrapped up after the Avengers movies are over. And it's going to be sad to see him go. But what do you guys think?
Like us hearing Andy Serkis is leaving the Planet of the Apes franchise after this next one, I didn't like that I heard this story because now when Steve Rogers is leaving, and I honestly thought, for me that's like, oh, he's safe going into this next Avengers movie. You know what I'm saying? Like for now. Yeah. And I feel like that takes I like the feeling that like this person can die at any time, and
there's no stakes this way. Yeah.
Maybe that's looking at the fine print. Again, really sad to see him go because I love Chris Evans as Captain America, but I just wish they kept more contract stuff under wraps. I'm tired of hearing about it before movies because you go in with certain expectations that might or might not be met.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
For the longest time, though, I mean, since after like the second Captain America movie, like it's always been in the news that Chris Evans was going to be done as Captain America. Like we almost expected him to die in Avengers 2 or Civil War, like the way discussion about Chris Evans' contract was going. It feels like every time a new Marvel movie is coming out, they talk like Chris Evans' contract is the discussion topic. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be the last one. But then it's like Robert Downey Jr. says he wants to continue to be like Tony Stark forever. So I don't know. I mean, at this point in time, they've been doing this movie universe for 10 years. And by the time like Infinity War Part 2 comes out or whatever, that'll be what, like 2020?
No, yeah, actually maybe, because 2018, it's 2019 or 2020. It's one of the two.
Yeah, so I mean, then you're pushing into 12, 13 years of it, and I mean, Steve Rogers did his part. I wouldn't mind if the Avengers Infinity War Part 2 is like his last movie.
Mhm.
So, you know, Marvel will figure it out. Marvel Disney will figure it out. Whatever characters staying, they're staying, and they're going to have future movies. Like Tom Holland, he's 20 years old, so he can go ahead and be Spider-Man for the next 10 years.
Yeah. Now, you guys would like that if he kind of stepped aside for these kind of smaller characters that maybe stepping in the spotlight. Would you like that, or more Captain America forever?
Well,
no,
'cause
I'm okay with him stepping away. Yeah.
Yeah, and as am I. I mean, because in comic books as well, doesn't Bucky Barnes become Captain America after Steve dies?
There's a Falcon
Yeah.
and Winter Soldier story where they
Yeah.
either one of them take over.
Yeah, there's actually been several guys who have taken the mantle of Captain America outside those dudes, but this is getting into crazy comic book continuity that's confusing for everyone. But yeah, those two, even Bucky and Falcon have taken the mantle. So who knows? That could happen. I don't know.
Yeah, because Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes or the Winter Soldier is supposed to make an appearance in Black Panther.
Is he?
No way.
Yeah. That's the rumor.
Okay.
Whether it's a post-credit scene or
That's the rumor.
or he's actually in it. Because remember after Civil War, Black Panther was looking after Bucky and trying to get all that Soviet crap out of his head.
Yep. Yep.
So.
All right. Well, is that all we have on this?
Yeah.
Oh God, I just burped into the mic, I think. Oh.
That's all right.
Oh God. Sorry, audience.
All right, Mike. I think
Mike, you got the next
one.
story?
Yeah. So the recently released horror movie, It Comes at Night, is another. It seems to be a continuous trend of a horror movie that is very well received by critics, but somewhat disliked and not accepted by the general audience. And other movies that have kind of been in this trend are, just to give you a glimpse, It Comes at Night is at an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes in a critic score, and only a 44%, which is about half, audience rating. And other movies have continued this trend, like The Babadook, which was 98% by critics to only 72% by the audience. Another one was It Follows, which was 97% and only an audience score of 65. And last year's The Witch was 91% by critics and 56%. Why do you guys think this trend is continuing with kind of indie horror films? Like, why is this seems to be like a yearly occurrence with movies that are really well received by critics but doesn't seem to be liked at all by the general audience? Why do you guys think this keeps happening?
I just sorry, Ryan. I just think that people aren't jumping up out of their seats to go see these anymore, and the people that do, I just think that they are unimpressed by them because, I mean, jump scares and stuff like that is kind of old news at this point in time, and I feel like a lot of the recent horror films have been kind of taking the same role as, or the same kind of formula as The Conjuring, as well as what's that one with Rose Byrne?
Insidious?
Yeah.
Well, that's my thing. These movies are very different than mainstream horror movies, which make a lot of money. These movies are very slow-paced, very atmospherical, centered on a score and the acting, and they don't seem to be very accepted by normal folk, I guess.
I feel like that's, part of it might be marketing. I feel like, It Comes at Night, I had only heard about it once. And then when we went to the theater to go to see the fucking Mummy, I was just like, you know what, we should have saw that instead. And I really didn't know what it was even about. I just would have rather seen that than the Mummy, because I'm sure it's a lot better. But, I guess people don't like to be bored in the era of superhero films.
Okay. Ryan, what do you make of this?
The thing about It Comes at Night is that Yes, it's marketed like your traditional. Jesus Christ! It's marketed like your.
Was that your cat?
I was holding my cat, and then he jumped across my fucking laptop. But
I remember that cat.
yeah, he's all hanging out over here. The thing about It Comes at Night is that it was marketed like a traditional horror movie, but is actually, and I haven't seen it. I wish I did, but it actually, from what I was reading, is not your traditional horror movie. Apparently, it does these weird kind of sequences and things like they'll dream the scary parts, but then the scary parts aren't actually part of reality, and so it's really like a lot more stuff like in your head.
Psychological.
And so it's not. Yeah, I don't know that there's actually monsters in it. I don't know what happens. Everything that's in the trailer promises like, oh, this guy brought you in and there's monsters outside and he seems kind of crazy, all that stuff. But it's not actually that kind of movie. And you mentioned the Babadook, and that's a great example because everyone saw these trailers for the Babadook, and I've seen it. Fantastic movie.
That movie's fucked up.
But it's not a horror movie in the traditional sense. It turns out to just be a metaphor for coping with loss, and there's different pacing, and it's really jarring, and it's not like your normal jump scares. Yes, there are some in the film, but these movies are marketed as such because it's going to make money that way. If people are going to the theaters thinking they're getting their normal jump scare fright fest, where instead these are more art house movies that are going for some sort of different tone.
So you think this is more of a marketing problem than a divide in taste between critics and audience, or do you think it's a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, the studios shouldn't be putting as much money into these if they have to market it as a different movie. They shouldn't put as much stake in the movie, or maybe not make them at all. I mean, it's great that they're making these original movies, but if they don't believe in it enough that they have to say it's a whole nother movie to audiences, I don't think that's really fair, and it's not very genuine.
Well, and that's the thing we talked about on our show a few weeks ago about, are original movies dying? They're not. Obviously, look at all these movies that Mike just named over the last couple years.
Yeah.
But they're not being marketed properly. So
but it's because the studios have no
exactly.
faith.
So the select audiences that go and see them and kind of give them bad audience reviews, that doesn't help original screenwriters kind of get out into the world,
No, not at all.
And that's kind of on marketing and the studios, kind of not putting their beans into the baskets of original writers and into the marketing of these indie horror films.
Yeah, I think it lands, like Ryan said, a little bit of both. The marketing is definitely a big issue, but I think also the horror genre especially has caused a lot of people to go in very closed-minded to horror movies, and people will be like, oh, that movie wasn't that scary, blah, blah, blah. That's because we're in the age where people want jump scares. People want formulaic things. They don't want to pay attention to stuff like dialogue. I saw The Witch, and that's the scariest movie I've seen in a while, in my opinion. And I'm not trying to act like I'm better and I know what I'm talking about, but just by putting myself in a 1600s setting, I thought it was terrifying and I thought it was brilliant, and I think it's very hard for the average audience member to be like, okay, I'm going to listen to Old English for an entire movie and try to comprehend all this. So again, it's a little bit of both, but I also think some people go in closed-minded and make their mind up about a movie within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, do you guys think the studio should keep making these kind of different horror movies, or is it just kind of a lost cause if they're going to be marketing it like that?
I think they need to be. Dan, you go.
I think they need to make the films, but then also they need to market them better. I mean, at this point in time, I mean, we've had a few years here of going after these films, and obviously they do well with the critics, but not so well with the audience. So somebody's seeing them, and people love them. But, if they're not being well received by audience, who in the end really are the ones who matter when it comes to film, then they're just going to die out. And it's not just going to be the studios who's not making them. It's going to be writers and directors not wanting to do them at all. So it could kill out the whole genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you concur?
Mike?
I'm good. I'm good.
I concur. It's just this business we cover every week is weird, and we don't even fully understand it. And it's just sometimes it's uplifting, sometimes it's sad. But at the end of the day, we're still gonna go to the movies, aren't we?
I'm trying to go see It Comes at Night this week because I'm not going to see Transformers. The next movie we are reviewing is Baby Driver. I'm not seeing Transformers. You guys can see it. I'm not.
No, I don't want to.
Transformers.
I think we just found a Transformer.
We're not giving up on Prime.
Moving into our next story here, Dan, where are you right now?
I am currently in Sherman Oaks, California, a neighborhood just outside of Los Angeles, California.
And what are you there for?
I am here for E3, which is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, which is a huge convention for games, video games, and gaming companies kind of revealing what they're working on or what they plan to work on over the next few years.
Mm-hmm. And what brought you over there? Like, what piqued your attention this year? Is there not a reason?
Well, I wanted to go this year because it seemed like a straight shot that Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be there, and it was. We got a new trailer there. It looks fucking awesome. But it was announced there that they're going to have another trailer and more information at Disney's Expo next month in Montreal. So that was just kind of like, okay, they're not at the show, but there's going to be new information soon, which was cool enough. My favorite game of the show was Star Wars Battlefront 2, which me, Mike, and our other friend Clint are huge players of the first Star Wars Battlefront, but this one is upgraded big time. Like, they took everything that anybody bitched about the first game and fixed it and made it awesome. So I played through, with E3 there was an app, and PlayStation made their own app too. In order to play the demos, you have to put yourself on a schedule, and I played the Battlefront demo 3 times, and it was just awesome. I loved it so much. I didn't get to play anything else. Super Mario Odyssey, which is the new Mario game coming out for the Nintendo Switch later this year, is definitely, to everybody else, the game of the show. I didn't get to play it, but I watched some gameplay, and that game looks awesome. That made me want to, buy a Switch, which I think we've had the conversation of possibly getting, around Christmas time for our apartment next year.
I was going to get one,
yeah.
probably. Because, they always have those sweet Christmas bundles, so I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, so Super Mario Odyssey would definitely be, without a doubt, a pickup for that console because it just seems awesome. I got to see a special look at the Spider-Man game for PS4 being developed by Insomniac Games, and that looks awesome. That finally got a release year, and it will be released in 2018, and they're hoping for early 2018. If not, I think the latest for that will be mid-2018.
The graphics look spectacular on that.
Yeah, and the trailer was awesome, and I got to see a live playthrough, and it was funny. The guy doing the live playthrough died.
Oh, what? Wait. During it or after it?
No, not he died. Not the guy died. Spider-Man.
Jesus, Ryan, turn your fucking brain on.
Because at these demos at E3, they have a guy on the side with a controller. I thought you meant that guy.
No, he was playing as Spider-Man, and Spider-Man died. And being a representative of the company and being a programmer that programmed the villains who were shooting at Spider-Man, you probably shouldn't die in front of an audience of hundreds of people.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of shitty of him.
I also saw the new Xbox One X, which doesn't impress me whatsoever because it's basically their version of the PS4 Pro, and they're like, oh, this is Xbox, it's awesome, it's the brand new thing, when literally PS4 did it with the PS4 Pro last year. So I was unimpressed with that. Nobody gave a shit. Shadow of Mordor, or the sequel to Shadow of Mordor, Middle of Earth, Shadow of War. I got to see a playthrough of that as well, and that looks incredible. That, I think, it came in second behind Mario Odyssey for IGN's Game of E3, and they had a huge dragon on the show floor that you could take pictures with and ride and everything like that. And
You got to ride it?
no, I didn't. The line for it was always way too long, and I didn't want to wait for
That's
it.
amazing, though.
Yeah, but it was an incredible experience, and I did some shopping. I got a Kingdom Hearts wall scroll. I got a discount on like a Sora figurine from the Square Enix store. I also got a Batman wallet. But then, so E3 was 3 days.
Yeah.
But I only went the first 2, and on Thursday, I went to Universal Studios to do the Harry Potter park. And oh my God, that's the greatest thing ever. Like, it was, like, as a Harry Potter fan, it was amazing. But even if you're not a fan of Harry Potter, like, they have made that so beautiful and so awesome that, like, if Universal didn't build that Harry Potter park, I think they'd be, like, out of money.
Oh, and
Now-
Universal's awesome. I went there before.
Question about this Harry Potter park. Do they make the employees that like are they in character?
Yeah.
Do they like speak shitty English accents?
Some do, some don't.
That's really exciting. So they did like oh, governor, you got your butterbees.
No, there was this one.
Oh.
There was this one mumbly Slytherin person who was like directing us onto like the Hogwarts like 4D ride, and oh, dude, like I was almost too fat for that ride. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I'm not even that fat, but like I think when they originally made the ride, they were thinking like, oh, only little kids will want to do this. And
Wouldn't
then,
that
like,
have been heartbreaking if you couldn't get on the ride?
oh, I would have been devastated. But my uncle couldn't go. And and then there was a guy who was just really tall and didn't have a belly at all. I mean, he was probably about 6'4" and couldn't get on.
That's weird. But it's meant for kids though, right?
Like, not really though.
Huh.
Maybe
they should have like made it known if it were.
I
though,
think
right?
it's like I think their target ages were like 11 to 17.
Well, what the hell? A lot of 17-year-olds are big and fat like that.
I don't know. It wasn't my decision. I don't know. But I did shopping there because how the fuck do I not buy anything in the Wizarding World of Harry Potter? So
Yeah.
I got myself a Gryffindor scarf. I got myself a Deathly Hallows keychain. I also got a chocolate frog, which was delicious, and I'm keeping the box because I got a wizard card with it. I got Albus Dumbledore. And then I also got
Nice.
I got a package of Bertie Bott's Every Flavored Beans, which I will share with Mike when I get back home.
Now, Dan, let me
Nice.
ask you a question about back to E3 because I know how much of a great time you had. Was there anything going in you were maybe expecting that you didn't get? I know you had a great time, but was there anything you were kind of surprised that didn't show up there that maybe you were expecting?
I was really surprised that we got no news from Naughty Dog about The Last of Us 2. Because at PlayStation Experience in the fall of 2016, that was their big thing, and they had announced that. And now we have gotten no news since then, since that first trailer, which is okay. You kind of don't want to have constant news about a game because then, that means they're working on it. And if they have news at every gaming event, you're going to see the slow progress of the game, and that'll just piss people off. So I guess I was kind of surprised it didn't show up, but I wasn't not surprised all at the same time, because Naughty Dog was heavily focused on Crash Bandicoot and the remastered trilogy, because that was in like the main lobby of the convention center was Crash.
That might.
Were they
Ryan, go ahead.
Were they showcasing? They're doing the Naughty Dog is doing the new God of War game too. Didn't they?
Yes, they
showcase that?
are.
Yeah.
That was there. They finally had a gameplay trailer, and that looked awesome. That was at like the Sony press conference. They did that. It wasn't playable yet, but it did look really awesome, and we finally got a gameplay trailer for that, and people were excited about that.
Yeah.
I'd say Red Dead Redemption 2. But again, they just delayed, so I don't know if they have everything ready. They might have delayed because they didn't have anything ready for E3. So again, I'm fine with it. It's not like they're at the point of Kingdom Hearts 3 where they went dry for the longest time and had to like start over starting in like 2014. So
Now,
it
aren't not to interrupt, but aren't Rockstar, which does Red Dead, and Naughty Dog, who does Last of Us, Uncharted, all those, they're not that big at at gaming conventions though, right? I thought they were kind of more subtle on how they put their stuff out. I could be wrong. That was just a
Rockstar
question.
more over, but Naughty Dog usually has big announcements and everything like that. I mean, they've created some of the most iconic video games ever. So they had some new Uncharted game with like women that they were promoting as well. I didn't
I think
really
that's a
look into
DLC, isn't it?
Yeah,
Right?
No, it's a spin-off title of Uncharted 4. It has characters from the first few games
Okay.
in it. It's one of the characters from the second game, and she's the main character that you play as. It's the full-length game, actually.
Oh, cool. Okay.
But it's like a DLC kind of thing.
Another game I saw there was Days Gone, which is like an upcoming zombie apocalypse type game. And that game just looks fucking sweet. The animations in the game look crisp. Just the way the game looks is beautiful. The fight scenes are intense. There was like an 8-minute long gameplay trailer, and I stood in front of a giant TV and watched it. And like the way there's like swarms of zombies, and like it just looks fucking incredible. It looks like the best kind of like apocalypse zombie games since like Gears of War.
Well, is that all you got on E3 for us, Dan?
Yeah, there's, a lot more, but I could sit here and talk for 2 hours about it, and then, straying away from E3 and just having my other experiences here in LA, we could talk for hours on end, so don't want to do that too much with the listeners because they'll just get bored.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm glad you're having a good time out there, man. It must be awesome to be in California.
Yeah, it is, but it's so goddamn hot.
Well, some people like that. You don't like that?
Well, no, I mean, now we're getting into, like, record heats. I was just watching the news downstairs.
Oh, fuck that.
And they're saying it's going to be, like, 124 at the highest in the valley, kind of, like, at the beginning of the week. But I'll be home by then, so.
All right. Well, moving into our next topic. We saw a movie this week. We saw Cars 3. This was the second movie that I saw alone in a theater. Not a bad thing. I kind of like
love it.
Watching movies alone. It's kind of nice. It's like watching it at home. But moreover, on Cars 3, the synopsis of the plot goes, Lightning McQueen sets out to prove to a new generation of racers that he's still the best race car in the world. So we find Lightning is challenged by a character played by Armie Hammer. Are you okay,
I know
Dan?
what he's laughing about.
What?
Just leave it.
Okay.
Take the mic away, Dan.
Yeah,
Keep
just
going.
let me get this out at least. The movie is directed by Brian Fee, who I looked him up. He kind of has actually done a lot of work in the Pixar creative department. He's actually got an impressive kind of resume going on. The cast has Owen Wilson, Larry the Cable Guy, Cristela Alonso, again, Armie Hammer, Chris Cooper, and Bonnie Hunt. So let's get right into the positives and negatives. What are the positives for this movie, guys?
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
I'll start. I really enjoyed the first act where it's kind of showing Lightning and his friends in their glory days. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that as the first positive. The races were actually more intense than I thought they would. Be. I actually really enjoyed those. What I was really surprised about was how much more they added to the character of Lightning McQueen. They added a lot more to a character that has already had 2 movies, and he's kind of been the central focus for 2 movies. And it's Dan related the trailers to Rocky, and you keep watching the Rocky movies, and he keeps developing throughout them, whether they're good or not. That's for the viewer to judge. But I really enjoyed how much they furthered Lightning into turning him more of a superstar into more of a mentor role. I really enjoyed that aspect. That was maybe my favorite part of it. And my final positive was I really liked Armie Hammer as Jackson Storm, but I wish he was in it more because I thought he was such a cool villain, and he's really only in the first and third act of it. But that's more for the negatives, but that was kind of those were my highlights. I really enjoyed what they did with Lightning, considering it is his movie. I thought they did it well.
I really enjoyed this film. Coming from Cars 2, Cars 2 is without a doubt the worst Pixar movie so far. And when they were making this third Cars film, I said, "Oh no, this has got to be good, or else they're just going down the shitter with this whole franchise," which they started in 2006, which the first Cars was an awesome movie. Now, positives for this film, I thought, they went back to Radiator Springs more. Bonnie Hunt got more lines as Sally, which we haven't kind of seen her for a long time because she was barely in the second one. There was less Mater because Mater got his own hour-and-a-half film in Cars 2, and that was part of the reason why it was bad. So there was a hell of a lot less Mater, and that made this film better. I loved I loved how they brought Paul Newman back to life. Paul Newman was the voice actor for Doc Hudson in the first Cars, and he passed away. But they brought him back to life, and I love how they brought Doc back into the Cars story. I really like, I don't want to give too much away as a spoiler. Lightning goes back to Doc's roots, and you really get to learn more about Doc, while you also get to learn more about Lightning all at the same time, and they do that really well. It's a really well-paced film, well-made film, and I really enjoyed it. Pixar did it again, and I was happy leaving the theater. Except, my negatives involve the movie itself and the real world, but I'll get into that after Ryan's positives.
Yeah, you guys touched on a lot of what I was saying. Good God, I love how they got Mater, Larry the Cable Guy's character, out of there. After the second one, I think everyone could agree he kind of overstayed his welcome, and this one's a lot more about Lightning. And it was actually really great to see it more centered on him. I loved a lot more toward the second half of the film when he was more with the new character Cruz. I really liked their kind of rapport that they built up, and I thought she was really actually a fun character. And by God, yeah, as a big Paul Newman fan, it was really great to see them bring back Doc a little bit. And but yeah, this movie, it just kind of felt, I would say it's equivalent to Cars 1. Definitely not the film I thought it was going to be upon the first trailer where we saw Lightning getting wrecked in slow motion, tumbling on the track. I thought this was going to be a real different movie tonally, but I should really remember that this is a Pixar movie for kids, and it's not going to be some dramatic movie like that. But nonetheless, a good step in kind of them drawing back from making a car spy movie like they did in the second. Now it's again about racing the way it should be in a Cars movie. But that's enough on the positives. I kind of got negative there, but what are your guys' negatives?
Dan, you go.
All right, so the theater I saw it on Thursday night, and me and my uncle went and saw a 7:15 show. Now, me and my uncle are obviously two older gentlemen, and we're in a theater going to see a kids movie, but we thought it was safe enough on a weeknight, and out here in LA, they're still in school. All the elementary schools and the high schools even are still in school. They finish up this week, but they were still in school. All right, so we were thinking that a later show time on this weeknight, there wouldn't be that much of a crowd. We were wrong. We were sitting next to people with too young of kids, guys. Too young of kids. I'd say
like infants?
2 and 3-year-old kids.
I had the same problem in mine, actually, too.
Who are not old enough to go see the movies. But I've never been in a theater with more misbehaved kids than I have been with this one. I mean, like, the thing is with a Pixar movie, the last few years, you could call me. I mean, I'm not, because Pixar makes good films, and I'm always going to go see their films. But over the last few years, going to see the Pixar movies, where I've almost been considered too old to be going to see the Pixar movies, I've always been the older one in the audience, and I'm expecting to be in a loud kids theater, but usually the kids are well behaved. And I think back to when I was a kid going to see the Toy Stories and Monsters Inc. and Incredibles and the first Cars. My parents would beat me over the head if I acted like that in the theater, because the theater is a special privilege, you know.
It's those damn cushy LA kids.
But Dan,
so I'm getting through it.
movie?
I'm getting through it. Okay, I got punched in the back of the head by a kid, and they were talking through the whole movie. It was
hell?
ridiculous. Okay, but here for the film, the Cruz character was a good character to begin with, but I don't like the way the film ended. I thought that for the entirety of the movie, it was very comparable to Rocky 3, and then at the end, something happened with Cruz, and Lightning was no longer the main character of the movie, kind of. And you guys know what I'm talking about, but it'd be a spoiler if I said so. So I didn't really like that. I didn't dislike the Cruz character, but with what they did at the end, I didn't really like it so much. I didn't like. Well, I didn't like how Jackson Storm, which is Armie Hammer's car character. Like Mike said, he was only kind of used in the first and third acts, but he wasn't all that, like.
There was so much more to do with him. He seemed like such a cool character when he was introduced, and they could have gone like a Carl Weathers and a Rocky route of a Sly route.
Yeah, because even in Rocky 3, during training scenes where Apollo is training Rocky, you'd go and check in on Clubber Lang every once in a while, talking shit, you know.
Yeah.
But once Lightning kind of went into his seclusion to go train or whatever, you didn't hear from Jackson Storm at all. So I think that it didn't slow down the pace of the movie, but you're kind of like, okay, what the hell is he doing? But I guess it is like racing off season, and there wasn't much going on. But he was at the track kicking ass, and he wasn't really talking to press, I guess. Other than that, I don't really have much more negative that I can't get into spoilers. But I mean, I couldn't pick that much out. It was an enjoyable film. Pixar did well with this film, and I can't pick it apart anymore. Ryan?
Again, I actually did not really like the beginning so much. I actually really liked it when it picked up when he went out into seclusion on his own to more find himself, because that's more what I wanted to see over anything, is that like Lightning learns, his lesson that he's not, the same as he used to be, and he has to kind of still work hard. And seeing him like face adversity was actually something I liked in this movie, because when they're blowing up shit in the second one, it's not exactly like believable as much as a Pixar movie could be believable. But other than a weak first act, I thought it was a serviceable, fun movie. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of the Cars franchise. Haven't even really like seen the first one in a while, to tell you the truth. But I would again compare it in quality to the first.
Dan, you mentioned the character Cruz. I agree so much that I like the character. I don't like the direction they take her. And it really, I'm all for female empowerment, but I will say this movie oddly pushes, and you said it when you texted me and I noticed it in the movie, it oddly pushes feminism.
It's hard to not. It's the Disney agenda.
It was very, I just thought it was like spoon-fed to you with how much it was coming in. So I tried to avoid it, but it was there. But then what happens in the third act, I was like, where did this come from? You know, I could have seen a different transition happening that would get into spoilers, but I didn't love it either, what happened in the third
So
act.
you guys didn't like how it kind of more became about her?
No,
Yeah.
I didn't.
Well, that's
because
not what I'm saying.
Okay.
I don't like how, you know, I really can't say it without spoiling the movie.
We're getting into spoilers. I think we should avoid that.
I can't
Yeah.
talk about it. You'll just have to go see the movie. But I think people will get what I'm talking about.
I'll say
you know.
this regarding how it ties up. I see this as a Cars trilogy. I don't need any more.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
land. Okay. You guys talked about, Dan brought up earlier, Pixar's done it again. I would argue that to a fault, this movie is entertaining and it meets its requirement of entertaining children. That's what these movies are about. But Pixar is known for having deeper plots and movies that can also entertain adults. And I thought this movie kind of lacked that magic. I thought its story was somewhat simplistic. It took a lot of homages from Rocky, which the first Rocky I think is very deep, but as they go on, it's kind of just a formulaic story. And I thought that this movie ran the same lines as well. The other thing that bothered me was, thank God Mater wasn't in this movie a lot, voiced by Larry the Cable Guy. But when he was, he still wasn't funny.
No.
And this movie, you know, it's I hate when I can watch a movie and go 3, 2, 1 joke, 3, 2, 1 joke, and I usually there's adult humor in there, and it's not potty mouth and stupid stuff. And this movie had a lot of humor for children, which again is what it's meant to do. But for me, I wasn't as entertained as other Pixar movies. I mean, it was
definitely.
It didn't have the magic I'm used to seeing from a lot of great Pixar movies, and I think they're putting a lot of work into this Coco movie that's coming out. That movie looks awesome. The trailer too looked really good, but not to get onto that, but it was kind of mine. I thought this movie lacked magic, even though it was entertaining.
Yeah.
To put it simply.
Is that all we have on this?
That's it.
It definitely was not Toy Story 3.
No.
Well, let's get into scores. What do you guys have for this out of 5 on our Goldblum
I'm
scale?
at a 3 out of 5 out of Goldblum's. I was around a 2.5 to 3, but tomorrow's Father's Day, and I'm feeling generous. Cars 3 was not a bad movie. It was entertaining. It served its purpose. Let's move on to the next Pixar movie.
I agree. 3 out of 5 Goldblums, kind of around the fly. It's entertaining, and thoroughly they got back to Cars being a good movie, because after Cars 2 it sucked. So 3 Goldblums, could have used more Goldblum, but still entertaining.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum
Always could use
voiceover
more.
would have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm clocking it. I think sometimes a lot of scales we see for movies and things are a little too generous, and I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5. I thought this was not a horrible movie, like a 1 or anything. I give this movie a 2 out of 5 Goldblums.
Okay, what's that at? Like a little under a 3 or so? Anyway, I will say this:
something.
if you are an adult and you are interested, maybe wait to see it on DVD. But if you have kids, take them to see it. They'll
Not if
enjoy
they're
it.
not if they're too goddamn young, though. If you're young parents and have kids who are 2, don't fucking take them to the theater.
5 and up, guys. Come on. And if
Yeah.
your kids misbehave, hit them with a switch like Adrian Peterson.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Okay. Well, moving into our main topic, on our first episode we ever did of this podcast, we had a debate on what French fry is best, and I kind of want to harken back to that in another kind of discussion or even a debate about which is better between pancakes or waffles. Now, before we get into this, before we debate pancakes or waffles, I wanna just say, do we all concede that both of those are great?
Amazing.
Okay. And now that we've established that, what are you guys' thoughts on pancakes or waffles? Let's make a case here.
Dan's the food guy. I'll give it to Dan.
I'm losing Mike. Mike kind of freaked out in my
connection's
internet
bad?
connection here, but
He's just saying go ahead.
oh, okay. Well, I'm a fan of both pancakes or waffles, but I love pancakes a lot more than waffles. I'm a big pancake guy. I love pancakes. Chocolate chip pancakes are the go-to. Here
Hell
in
yeah.
my mom makes chocolate chip pancakes. Sometimes she makes chocolate chip pancakes with like peanut butter in them. And they're just fucking incredible. So I grew up on the chocolate chip pancake, and it is my absolute favorite breakfast. I get chocolate chip pancakes on the side of my omelets and shit because it's my favorite breakfast, and I feel bad for myself if I don't have chocolate chip pancakes for breakfast. Though that doesn't mean I hate the waffle. Now, we also have a Belgian waffle maker at my house, and my mom makes those from occasion, and I can still put chocolate chips on those, but I think the pancake is better than the waffle.
Now are we including condiments?
Yes.
Yeah, toppings are included.
All right.
Yeah.
So, at face value, waffle or pancakes, I always felt waffles were a little more special to me because they're a little rarer. We don't live in the South where we get them too often, especially, I'll say more in my household. Pancakes were more common, and then every so often my mom would bring out the Belgian waffle. And that was always delicious and something I really looked forward to. So at face value, I appreciate a waffle more, but in terms of what I can eat more and what I enjoy more, if you add chocolate chips to a pancake, I will choose that over any breakfast. Like two or three.
How you guys feel on blueberries?
I'm more of a chocolate chip
I enjoy
guy.
them. But yeah, chocolate chips are better. Actually, but here at this breakfast place that me and my uncle have gone to like almost every morning and for lunch and for dinner sometimes. I've gotten chocolate chip pancakes, and they don't offer just the chocolate chip pancakes. They put bananas on them. So so it was chocolate chip and banana pancakes, and with the syrup on top, it was just fucking potassium and chocolate and sweet. It was amazing.
You
It was
see,
so good.
waffles are more filling. You can have one waffle, and you're like, I'm good. But you can have 2 or 3 pancakes, and you're like, I'm good. So it also feels like you're getting more enjoyment and more flavor out of 2 or 3 pancakes versus just one waffle. So that is why I choose, at face value, the waffle. But adding condiments, nothing beats the chocolate chip pancake for breakfast in general, in my eyes.
Yeah. Here's what I'll give you on the pancake. The pancake is like it's comparable to like that hometown girl that you know has feelings for you, and you could settle for her. She might marry you if you put some effort into that, and she'll always be there, and it's welcome.
She
But
puts out.
that waffle. Oh yeah, absolutely.
You hope so.
And but the waffle is really something special because, as Mike said, it's not always around, at least in our area, and so. When you have the waffle, you got to get out the maker. It's a lot of work. It's it's almost a special occasion. That's like the equivalent of like that hot date, that girl that almost got away. That's a creepy kind of rapey vibe. Didn't mean that, but like, she's the girl. She's the girl you want to take out and show off. At dinner time. It's that kind of girl that she's better than you. She's a league above. The waffle is something special, and I think it's really something to appreciate. And I'm going to go, at least in the texture game, waffles win immediately. I like that it's got sometimes a crunchy exterior giving into a soft and warm interior that is amazing. It has geometrical shapes to contain your syrup. You can create canals and direct where you want your syrup to go. It's all about strategy. It's about
harder
taste.
to pick
And
up too. Yeah.
Exactly.
The thing with the waffle divots, I didn't mean to interrupt your waffle argument, but butter is harder to put on a waffle than it is a pancake.
Perhaps.
Because of all the divots. It's better. The divots are better for syrup, but it's not better for butter.
That's fair. That's a fair argument.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's like dressing up. It's a fancy thing to get a waffle. Whereas the pancakes, it's again hometown girl. It's just something that you could definitely make easy in the morning, but a waffle, it's special. It's like getting a steak.
Yeah, the pancakes an everydayer, you can dress her up and throw her out the front door. But the waffle, you got to pay for.
Yeah, you got to pay for dinner.
I was
That's
just
right.
laughing because I was
that
about to.
turned so sexist so quick.
I was about to break into Uptown Girl by Billy Joel when you said Hometown Girl. I was about to just go Uptown Girl.
Well, the waffle, that's it. No, that's exactly it. The waffle.
World.
The waffle is the Uptown Girl, and that's why it's so special to me. She doesn't belong with a guy like us, but sometimes you can get her attention.
Strictly 80s Joel.
Yeah.
So the waffle is strictly 80s Joel. But
Strictly Joel.
but the pancake is Billy Joel, who always sells out at Wrigley Field every year and just plays a goddamn great show.
Yeah. And again, I'll take anyone any day.
I could get
They're
into
both
that.
fucking
But
amazing.
gun to my head, I'm picking pancakes though, without a doubt.
Okay. Now, have you guys ever tried like all natural, like actual maple syrup?
Yeah,
I have not.
Wait,
I have
my
not.
Let me tell
my
you.
Nana Hutchins in Maine always sends us like real maple syrup for Christmas.
Oh shit. Okay.
So around Christmas
Well-
time, I usually have it, but up in Maine, it's just the fucking best. They have it in every restaurant up in Maine. It's
Tell
amazing.
me the difference, Ryan.
Mike, it's a whole new fucking ball game. Okay, you get Aunt Jemima out the like. Put her in the trash. She doesn't belong here when you.
It's naturally sweet is the thing. You don't
yeah.
need any of that artificial Aunt Jemima, crap. They get it right out of the tree. They put it through processing, but like not even the processing. Like they're not putting artificial shit in there. They bottle it. They take it out of
Yeah.
the tree,
Mike,
they
it's-
bottle it, and then they put it in restaurants, and it's amazing.
I'm gonna have to look out, and maybe next time I'm at a restaurant or something. I just gotta look out for that because that sounds.
My recommendation for Mike and those listening is log cabin syrup. It's beautiful. It's expensive, but it's worth the expense. And you will know that you made a good expense when you taste it.
Okay.
They
All right.
they sell jugs of it at Costco. So if you have a
Oh fuck yeah, they do. That's right.
So if you have a Costco membership, you can go get
We do.
Log Cabin.
And something's gonna tell me is my parents are gonna listen to this podcast and we're like, we've bought that before, you dumb fuck, because I probably have had it, and
Okay.
but it's a whole new ball game now that I know.
Have you guys ever made bacon pancakes where you shred up bacon and put it
I
in
like
there?
No.
bacon at breakfast alone by itself. I feel like at breakfast it's supposed to be eaten by itself, but then you use it as a condiment for lunch and dinner. But that's a whole
Hell
that's
yeah.
a whole nother story.
I eat pancakes. Like I want my pancakes on their own plate. Just so I can get all the syrup and chocolate like on one thing. I don't need my bacon or my sausage screwing around with the chocolate and the syrup.
I like how this topic didn't even turn into a food debate. It's just turned into us talking about how good breakfast is.
Well, I mean,
That's what food should do.
There's no
Yeah.
angry debate because there's understanding. We all love waffles, but goddamn, pancakes are Billy Joel playing at Wrigley Field, playing a great goddamn show.
Can you
every-
believe that
every year.
shit? Hold on, not to get off topic. Can you believe that shit on that? I don't know who the fuck they were, but I saw it on Joe Rogan's Instagram that someone said or questioned that peanut butter and jelly is racist. What the
What?
fuck
Wait,
kind
no.
of society do we live in? What the fuck?
Wait, what was the reasoning?
I didn't read it, but it was some fucking screenshot of a news headline that said, "Is peanut butter and jelly racist?" ?
No.
What the fuck? That actually
widely
pissed me off. No,
I quit.
don't care.
quit.
I'm just curious if any of you had seen that. Go read the article.
I did
and
see it, but I didn't give it any fucking thought because that's fucking ridiculous.
I just had to bring that up. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous.
It's a widely enjoyed sandwich by people of all races all over the world. What the
I am a
hell?
world-class peanut butter and jelly chef, and I will not stand for my creations being called racist.
Hold on. Is
I
peanut butter
triple
and
deck those motherfuckers.
Are Fluffernutters
There you go.
or peanut butter and Nutella? Do you like either one of those more than PB&J?
Absolutely not.
Well,
No, peanut butter and jelly is too classic. I love it. I got it for lunch every day from kindergarten to senior year of high school. So no, absolutely not. I love it.
Ryan, you taught me the Fluffernutter.
peanut butter is my favorite food, which is weird because it's like a spread. But like I
It's
eat
up-
that shit with a spoon.
Yeah, it's up there.
And like just peanut butter on anything is like an incredible thing. Yes, peanut butter jelly classic sandwich, but like trying it in a fluffernutter setting or with Nutella, my god, they're both
Yeah.
amazing. But nothing beats a PB&J.
Those are more of desserts, I would argue, than
definitely.
PB&J. You know that.
Not something you should have every day. Not at
No,
all.
that's
No,
how you
but
fill
you-
your arteries. That's
No, you
yeah.
don't want the fluffernutter with Nutella in your stomach, and then you go and run around on a hot day because that fucking marshmallow is just gonna sit in your stomach. But PB&Js, you can have it before like practices and stuff like that. You got protein, you got sugar and energy in the jelly, and like it's great to just sit down and feel good like you're at home, like your mother made it. But you can also eat it before you work out. You can eat it after you work out, and it's healthy for you. It's good for you.
Now, one last thing to talk more about food. When I was in football and I could burn calories and eat whatever I wanted, this was my snack at night. I would have ice cream with chocolate syrup on top of it, sprinkles.
Wow.
I'm not done. Fudge and fluff.
Oh,
why would you have Hershey syrup and fudge in it?
Why not?
Well,
because the fudge is
The
different
fudge,
texture
the
than Hershey
fudge,
syrup.
like
the
I know
fudge-
that,
It's
but
fudge.
I know that, but like still, like it's just fucking overkill. Is what it is.
Again, this is when
It's a
this
beautiful
is when
thing.
I was in okay shape. And it's funny because I was in better shape then than I am now, which is pretty hilarious that I
Well,
would eat shit
well,
like that. I
Only
was
because
also
you could
active.
Keep up with it, yeah.
All right. We can go on. We can go on food for days, but I'm saying I just wanted to say that is an unhealthy snack.
Yeah.
That needed to be said.
Pancakes or waffles? You decide. It's your opinion. We don't care what the fuck you eat for breakfast.
Next time we're
Um,
doing brownies or cookies, and
Oh,
if the
that's a good
brookie
one.
is the perfect, is the perfect.
Yeah, that
mix.
wins. Yeah, there's no debate on that. But ultimately you decide. Both are great. Again, we're gonna get it. We're always gonna end up with that opinion, But that's our show. Any last thoughts, guys?
No. Enjoy Cars 3 and keep listening to us. And nope, love you, listeners.
Goodbye.
Canada. Does Canada have a space program?
Yes.
What are you getting at here?
They have one right now.
Actually, I don't know.
Let's look that up.
Is Elon?
Let's look
is
that up.
Elon Musk Canadian?
I don't
what do
know.
you-
No, he's South African.
What are you getting at, Ryan?
I was gonna say a fun fact that Canada doesn't have a space program.
Now we look like
and
assholes
I
who
wasn't
don't
sure.
do our research.
No.
Yeah,
but
well,
that's
here I am
actually-
doing the
that's a-
research right now.
That's a pretty good question. Do they? Because I'm curious now.
Okay. Wow, they were really late in the game. So, Canada created the Canadian Space Agency, the CSA, in 1990. So they were really late in the game, which might explain how Canada has not contributed much to the world like we have since we've had NASA.
They're too
And so,
nice, dude. I'll bet they could have been the first ones to go to the moon if they put their forward to it. But they saw how hard us and Russia were working at it. They're like, oh, we'll take our time. You guys can go ahead and do it. So sorry, we'll wait our turn.
They were busy finding out new ways to cut down trees.
They were all
So-
they were all ootin' a boot and being oot.
Well, listen.
What?
Let's end the fucking show. How about that? And that is this week's podcast. Remember to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. We're on YouTube. Please subscribe and like our videos if you could. Links for all that is provided in the description. We're also on the social medias. We got a Twitter and a Facebook. That's at Creatively Challenged Podcast. And we're obviously Creatively Challenged Podcast on Facebook. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Nope, love you guys.
Bye.
And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.